All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the hotline and welcome to the show. Well, back to the show, Cory Feldman. Cory, how are you, sir?
Hello, how are you?
Cory, I got to tell you, I'm so disappointed. Last time you were in town, we were so close to having you here. You were here for like a Comic-Con, and we were arguing with your publicist to get you over here, and you were like, no, I want to do it. We want to get you in the studio so bad, but it's good to have you on the phone today. How are you doing?
Well, good. Thank you so much. Better late than never, I suppose. Sorry, my voice is not doing so good because it is only 6 a.m. here in Los Angeles. What time is it over there?
It's 9 o'clock.
9, right?
It's 9 o'clock, and it sucks getting up early, doesn't it? It's terrible, and I appreciate you doing it.
It sure does.
Yeah, a lot of sleep.
No problem. I love doing it. Anything for my fans.
Oh, and I am a fan. And let me tell you, how is the tour going with Limp Bizkit?
Well, it hasn't started yet, so pretty great.
Oh, well, it comes here in August, but I thought that it already started on the road. So it's you, Limp Bizkit, a Riff Raff. Who else is on that tour?
Let's see. Then you've got Nate No Face. He's great. Have you seen him yet? He's a wild character. Really cool. Yeah, just a crazy dude, but yet he seems to have a really good attitude. So I'm very interested in spending time all summer, in fact, with him. And then you've got Riff Raff, you've got Bones, and of course Bones' special guest Eddie Baker. So it should be a good time. I think it's going to be crazy.
Now, how does this happen? Are you friends with Fred Durst? Or there's got to be some sort of connection there because it doesn't seem like the most likely matchup, but yet it sounds like it's going to be awesome.
Well, that's true. It is not really that unlikely of a mashup, not in Fred and I's minds, I suppose, because Fred and I have been friends for over a decade. In fact, Fred actually appeared on my last album, Angelic to the Core. We did a song together called Seamless. That came out in 2016. So, around that time, I think 2014, 2015, we did a live show together where I performed with Limp Bizkit. We've, done some charity work together. So, yeah, Fred and I have a history. It goes back. But speaking of our work together, have you seen our newest venture, Fred's direction of my music video?
I actually have. I did a lot of Cory I Dig Deep this weekend. I watched the interview that you did with Howie Mandel, which I thought was very good. And then I learned a lot of stuff about the two of you guys. And I watched the video for the new song, The Joke. And I also just want to bring up that, something you brought up to Howie Mandel that I thought made a lot of sense. There's two things you brought up that I thought spoke volumes. One is that if I assume before hearing the song is very heavy. It's got rock riffs coming right out of the gate. We played it a little bit earlier on the show. And I always just assumed you because of your influence and of your dancing, or you grew up with Michael Jackson. I just assumed your stuff was all going to be dance pop stuff. I had no idea you had a whole rock end to you.
Oh, yeah, no, I've been doing rock since I started, to be honest. And then obviously the very beginning was very poppy because I was, a 15-year-old, living in a pop teen idol world. But even then, even if you listen to my early demos, it started off pretty heavy. In fact, I would say in my first 5 songs that I wrote and recorded were some real heavy hitters like Raucous Danny 2, and It's So Simple. Those are all rock songs, and they were in my very, very earliest recordings, which in fact you can hear if you pick up a copy of my box set, Love Left 2.1, which includes my last album, Love Left 2, Army with Love, but it also includes a remix remaster of my very first album, which came out all the way back in 1994, kids, and that album was called Love Left, and it's celebrating its 30th anniversary, and that was last year. But on top of it, there's also, stuff that was a rarities album, like stuff that was never released, or it was only released as the soundtrack for a movie. And I did about 10 movie soundtracks. One of those movie soundtracks was Rock and Roll High School Forever. And so there was about 3 songs I think I did in the movie, which were all originals. And in the film, it's kind of the version that the producers of the soundtrack wanted. But those aren't actually the original recordings that I did. The original recordings I did when I was about 15 or 16 years old, and I played them for the producers around when I was 18 years old and said, this is what I've got. And they said, oh, we like these songs, but we want to kind of modernize them or make them more contemporary. And they cheesed them out, and they made them these kind of 80s Euro rock, Euro pop type songs. But the truth of the matter is the original versions hit much harder. They're much harder rockers. And we finally released them in their original format on the box set. So you can hear those songs now if you really want to hear the history of my rock and roll stuff. But on top of that, I guess many people don't realize I have a whole other band, which is called Truth Movement. And that band is actually a classic rock kind of, almost like a tribute band, although it's all, but it's like a tribute to that era, to that vein. And it actually features two members of Pink Floyd and a member of Rat Dog, Bob Weir's band, Rat Dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. John Karen and Scott Page, both appear. They're both from Pink Floyd, of course, appear on the album. In fact, John Karen co-wrote and co-produced 7 of the songs on the album. On top of it, we got Storm Thurgeson, who did all of Pink Floyd's artwork, to do our artwork for that album, which ended up being his very last concept album before he passed away.
Wow.
So, yes, I am very grateful to have a distinct etch in the rock and roll annals, whatever that might be.
Well, yeah, you've had some career in music, but I have to tell you, over the weekend, I came across Lost Boys just happened to be popping up on television, and I watched a couple of minutes of it, and I started thinking about Stand By Me and Goonies. What a brilliant child actor you were. Do you miss acting at all? Do you still do acting? Would you like to do? You know, all these movies from the 80s are getting either a remake or a resurgence. Are you still interested in that stuff?
Oh, God, no. Oh, God, no. No. I don't want to redo anything. No, leave it alone. If it's done, it's done.
No. But I mean, are you still, I know obviously you had a rough childhood, but are you still interested in acting, or are you kind of done with that?
I mean, look, I'm on soft retirement. That's what I call it. I will do the occasional movie if I feel the right, vibe. Like if it's a great script, if it's got, great actors, great director, I can really relate to the role, or it's something that challenges me, then it's something that I might be considering. But it's not something I pursue anymore. I do it kind of haphazardly. But I do have a great film coming out in theaters, actually, my film theaters in a couple of decades, I would say. The last film I had in wide release was at least a couple of decades ago, but I've had some art house films and things like that. I had The M Word, which was out in 2013, I believe. Corbin Nash movie came out in 2019, and then of course my Truth documentary, which was meant to be on the silver screen, but then on people's homes. But that came out in 2020. So that was really my last feature film that I released, and I've got about 4 or 5 cameos in the pipeline. This one is very special. It's called The Birthday, and it will be out on the silver screen in theaters in October through Draft House Cinema. And it is a real gem. It's a real gem. I think people are really going to like it. It's a film that I star in. I'm in literally single scene of the film. I'm basically in every shot of the film, but it's a real cinematic masterpiece, according to Jordan Peele, who helped pioneer. But it's a very exciting film.
Yeah, I did. Now I know what you're talking about. I read about that with Jordan Peele. Okay, good. This is Cory Feldman, who we're talking to. Cory Feldman has got his new album, his new song, The Joke, dropped on the 22nd. It's available. We listened to it on Spotify earlier today. It must be hard, radio the way it is now. I don't even know how to get airplay anymore. But are you finding people are playing, or at least finding it on the online?
Oh yeah, it's crazy. The Joke is already my number 2 song, I believe, on Spotify. So it's very quickly kind of leapt up to the top of whatever the charts are as far as my personal music. I don't know where it's sitting comparatively yet, because it's only been out a few days, but it seems to be doing pretty well.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. I have some friends that do radio in New York City on Sirius XM. They're on the Bonfire. Are you familiar with them? Big Jay Okerson and Robert Kelly.
I wouldn't be friends with them.
But I'm friends with Bobby. He's my number 1 best friend. But Big J Okerson.
I don't know who that is.
Big J Okerson is on that show. He says you guys used to be friends and now you don't hang out anymore. He thinks you're mad at him. And I said, well, I'm talking to Cory Feldman tomorrow. Maybe I could mend that fence, but you don't even know who he is?
No, I mean, I've heard of that guy because he's on that show and they constantly invoke my name. So of course about it, but I don't know. I've never listened to the show. I could really not care less. It's a mean-spirited show, and anybody that spends their time trying to dismantle some ability, dismantle somebody's reputation, speak, in evil ways about somebody they don't even know. I've never met the guy, so I don't.
My bad.
I don't know why he's going around telling people that, but
I'm friends with the other guy. I'm friends with Bobby. The Big J and I. In fact, I don't really like him that much either. I'm going to be honest with you. He is kind of mean-spirited. But anyway, back to Cory Feldman.
Yeah, I mean, it's just who spends their days, digging other people apart. It's just I've got better things to do with my life. I believe in positive energy, spreading love, spreading truth. There's enough negativity in the world.
I got you. I'm with you. My bad. I thought I was trying to do something good, and I ended up disrupting it. Let me ask you this question. What would Michael Jackson be doing today if he was alive?
Well, I imagine he would be doing what he did when he was alive. He'd be making music. He'd be creating. He'd be, probably pointing the finger back at all these people that are, getting in trouble for all these terrible deeds with children. That's my guess.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. Were you surprised by, or not surprised, I'm sure, but were you aware of the stuff in that Disney documentary that came out when you were like, oh, this is what I've been telling you for years?
Not Disney. I think you're speaking about Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon. I'm sorry, Nickelodeon. Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah. It's in fact 4 of the names that were mentioned in that documentary were previously mentioned in my documentary, My Truth, back in 2020. So
But do you feel a little vindicated
about the people?
Do you feel a little vindicated because when you're the first person to come out and say it, everybody points to you and says, well, this guy's a weirdo, and then all of a sudden as time goes on, you're like, holy cow, that weirdo was actually telling the truth.
Yeah, well, it takes people to realize that's fine. At the end of the day, it's not about me. It's about the kids who are out there suffering, and it's about, the people who've gotten away with this for so long. So I'll feel vindicated when, the laws have changed and children are protected within our union. That's when I'll feel vindicated.
Yeah, well, this is Cory Feldman, a champion for children, but also a musical artist, an actor. And we were just talking about it earlier. Limp Bizkit and Cory Feldman and the Loserville Tour is coming here in August, and we're very much looking forward to seeing you when you come to town. I think this is great. This area loves you. I mean, you see when you come here for the cons how people line up for you. I think you're going to have a great time here.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I can't wait to perform for all of you. I can't wait to do this tour. I think it's going to be a blast. Although, people who've seen our shows in the past are used to the fact that I do a pretty long show normally. We play normally for like 2.5 hours. This time, it's going to be a much different situation because we are only the mirror openers. So I think we're only doing like a half-hour set. So you got to get there early if you want to see us. But you can also get VIP backstage after-show tickets. If you go to my website at CoryFeldman.net, you can actually buy the VIP tickets. They're on sale now. And meet us after the show, take a picture, get your Goonies t-shirt signed, get your merch signed. It's all good.
What's the most, when you go to the cons and stuff, what's the thing that the most people, I mean, to me, you have so many great movies, and obviously Goonies is popular, but brilliant in Stand By Me. You're brilliant acting job in Stand By Me. But is Goonies obviously the most popular thing?
I'll tell you, it depends on what con you're at. It depends where you're at. And you know what? Even that doesn't necessarily mean anything because everybody's got their favorites. I've got, by the grace of God, I've got like 18 number one movies, right? So there's a lot of people with a lot of different favorites. But that said, I love all my fans, no matter what they're a fan of. I appreciate them. I appreciate their support. And, it's always great to see them. So I'm always excited to do appearances, but I'm really excited about bringing my music to a whole new audience. I'm very grateful for Fred giving me that opportunity to cut into a new audience, So I think it's going to be a great summer.
Good. The new single is called The Joke. It's available everywhere. I listened to it earlier. We played it on the show. It's heavy. It's good. And if I didn't tell you, if I said, who is this, you would not guess Cory Feldman. So check it out. And Cory, it's great to catch up with you, and we'll look forward to seeing you in August, buddy.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate your support. Thank you so much.
Have a great time and a great tour. All right.
See you later.
Bye.
All right.
Now, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. There's a lot of me that wants to just to start tearing into Cory. But I think about it. Cory Feldman he was the first person to come out and say, Hollywood people are raping children. We are getting abused. He's the one that said Charlie Sheen was raping the other Cory in that movie. And he was the first one to say it, and as a result, his career and life has just been crazy. And his best buddy that he hung out with, his role model, is Michael Jackson, which probably didn't help him out much more. I mean, maybe helped him a lot. I don't know, but what I'm just saying is, I have no reason to fight and argue with Cory Feldman. I like him. I feel like his music is surprisingly better than you would think it is, and he is on tour with Limp Bizkit, and you are not.